Hi everyone, very good morning. So we are back again with one more very interesting topic today. Okay, so we all know that Genai is the talk of the town in most of the organizations, and today we have come with something called as Netra. So I have my colleague Mr. Ravi. So Ravi sir, tell us what is Netra. I'd like to start it from there. What exactly is Netra? And today I know you have a specific case where we are, this is a very interesting case specifically for manufacturing organizations, right? So tell us about Netra, how Netra can benefit for organizations. Over to you.
Yeah, hi Gayatri, and thank you for organizing this. So coming to probably the first part that you mentioned is how Genai is modifying. It is a talk of the town, and it's modifying the entire landscape, bringing in the natural, much needed disruptions. So from that perspective, from an industry perspective, from where I actually come from, manufacturing, oil and gas, continuous and discrete manufacturing. So it definitely brings in the capability to process unstructured data, derive insights from it. What probably the market doesn't really realize that AI is also bringing in the capability to consume structured data as well and derive insights from it without really involving the IT teams at a very. I'm not saying that IT teams are not involved in this, but yes, a lot of these functionalities can be facilitated without the intervention of the IT teams or with minimal intervention, I would say. So that is what Genia is enabling for business. So I mean, in a nutshell, it is a business enabler uh, as it stands
So
in terms of consuming
like
enterprise data. Yeah.
when you talk about structured and unstructured data, so does this data do we have to bring in a separate data lake for this, or how do we build this structured and unstructured data that is going to be fed into the GenAI platform? So what is the base for that, and how do we bring in this data?
So there are no specific uh, prerequisites to bring it into some kind of a data warehouse or a data lake. You can consume it wherever it is, provided it is not obstructing to day-to-day operations which happen in the organization. It's always better to take it into an intermediate database, which need not be a fancy data warehouse or a data lake. So based on what you really want to see in the data, only that small subset of data is what you need to extract, keep it there. Do not invest in too many big data warehouses, data lakes. You obviously, if you have something that can be consumed, but if you don't have it, that is not something which is a prerequisite.
So now there is a this myth in the market that predominantly GenAI means only RAG, right? So can you little bit elaborate on how better use cases are there than just using GenAI for a RAG use case?
So, I mean, I'll just talk about one simple scenario wherein Uh, I mean, and obviously, I will do a bit of a demo on that. So we're doing something for a oil drilling company, wherein there is a lot of IoT data. And here, I'm not talking about structured or unstructured data. It could be both of them. So obviously, there is some daily drilling reports which are generated on a daily basis. Now, if somebody really wants to understand what is happening from a persona perspective, assuming I'm a driller or I'm a geologist or I'm a drilling technician. Depending on my persona, depending on my role, I may want to see a different flavor of information which is stored in my DDR document, which is probably an end of the day PDF, which is generated by a set of users. Now I can actually use GenAI to extract the relevant information relevant to my persona and see it. Also, when it comes to looking at the structured data related to that, so assuming, like I said, if I'm a geologist and I want to see only the geology data, and depending on my persona, I can clearly ask, okay, what is the type of surface we are encountering at this depth? So assuming we have gone up to like 10,000 feet below the sea level, and I really want to see if there is any specific surfaces which I'm encountering. So when I say what is it that I'm observing, so it knows that I'm a geologist, and what would be my areas of interest, and then it will only pick up that content and show it to me, like the kind of subsurfaces at that depth.
Okay. Can you just throw a little bit more light on what exactly is Netra?
So Netra is a Catnip platform that we are coming up with. Netra is designed to cater to different business domains. So obviously we have Netra for drilling analytics. It's, I would say it's a drilling assistant or a drilling advisor, you may call it. Similarly, we are also building Netra for logistics.
Wow.
We are
Okay.
also creating Netra for real estate and infrastructure, which can cover smart capital projects. It can cover asset management. So for different domains, we are creating different flavors or different recipes of Netra, and the sky is the limit. I mean, we may eventually come up with say Netra for financial services also. So Netra would be a platform. So unlike what we advocate is you don't have to get plugged in with a particular uh, mm, uh, AI or a Genai provider. Probably look at it from holistically from a domain and a platform perspective. See what meets your requirements. So like we say that one size does not fit all. So you can use Netra as your gateway into the world of GenAI and AI. At the back end, we could use any of these AI or GenAI technologies provided by AWS, IBM, Microsoft, or Anthropic, or anybody. So, depending on what your domain needs, depending on what best results you will get from a particular cloud provider or a GenAI provider, we can build those services for you.
So when we say Gen AI, there is this hallucination concept, right? Can you tell us something about this hallucination concept and how does this actually affects the, I mean, probably the prediction or the data analytics? How does it affect the platform altogether?
So, hallucination is an inherent, I would say, a property or an attribute of all LLMs. The idea is to have 0% hallucination. So uh, just describing hallucination. So what is happening today is all these LLMs or foundation models like Llama or Granite from IBM. So any of these or Gemini Flash. So these have are trained on some data. So many million parameters or so many billion parameters they are trained on. So whenever you throw a question to any of these foundation models, they will obviously try to look at your repository, but they will also they are already trained on certain data. So let's take a simple example. If I ask you a query that I mean, what are the roles and responsibility of a chief security officer, information security officer? So what this foundation model would try to do is obviously it would try to look for answers in your documentation or your SOPs, but in case it will also try to look for something on which it is already trained because it has been trained on some general vocabulary and roles and responsibilities, including that of a CISO. So
Okay.
it would try to show that generic content along with what is here proprietary content. Now we don't want to see something which is generic. We want to be very, very specific in terms of what my organization defines as roles and responsibility of a CISO. So this is what I would call it hallucination. Now, the enormity of this hallucination could be anything. Like it may just fetch 10% from my content, 90% from the generic content, which is very, very dangerous. Or it could be like vice versa, 90% my content and 10% is generic content. So this is how. So the idea is to minimize hallucination, and one of the approaches to minimizing hallucination is using RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. Now there are additional new approaches which are coming in, which is using agentic RAGs and multiple layers of LLM processing. But that there are ways in which we are minimizing hallucination.
Right, sir. So what do we have today, sir? Can we get to the demo? I mean, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed
Okay,
and waiting for
okay.
it. Yeah.
So in fact, I also don't like to talk much, but probably let's get to some action. I'll share my screen.
Right, sir.
So so probably before I get into my demo, this is okay. Stop sharing again. Share. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So this is what used to happen in the conventional way in the absence of Genai. So typically there was a lot of reliance on the IT teams, which is on the top left. So typically we would really extract data from ERP into data warehouses and then build that intermediate database and then provide analytics. We'll build dashboards, and not to mention that our PDFs are lying in our portals, in our content management systems.
Correct.
So this is what used to happen, and whenever a business wants to consume this data, they have to always go back to the IT teams to ask for specific dashboards or specific views or extracts from those data warehouses, and probably some new dashboards in case they want to see some visualization based on their business needs. Now, what is happening is, mm, uh, I hope you can see the next scene, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's come up. Yeah.
So now what is happening is with Netra or any AI platform that comes in, this acts as an abstraction layer between the business and the host of backend systems like ERPs, data warehouses. So the same question which you raised a few minutes back, do I really need a data warehouse? I said no. But if you have it, we can consume that. We can also create some intermediate database at this AI layer, a small buffer database which can be provisioned by ATT.
So
But
that means,
all that,
so I have a question. Then in that case, if we have applications in Xylos, so our GenAI platform can go talk to those applications and then sit on top of those and get the performance GenAI capability, right?
correct, correct. So what business now has to do is just communicate with this AI platform in simple English terms, uh, in terms of what they want, and AI will. So the word as we call it Gen AI is generative AI. It will pull the data out from this host of systems and generate whatever you need, which could be a it could be a data set. It could also generate some kind of an extract. It can also generate some kind of a dashboard for you. Uh, so I mean, you don't really have to sit back and start building dashboards. You don't have to start uh, creating subsets of SOPs. So you may have an SOP of 600 pages, but you all you need is probably one small subset of that procedures. So generative AI will extract this and give it in the form that you are asking for in simple English queries. So this is what Netra can do. I'll quickly get into the demo if there are no further questions.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay,
Let's get
okay.
to the
So
demo. Yeah.
we stop sharing again and share my. Can you see
Yes, sir.
my browser?
Yes, sir. I'm able to see. So this is a case of drilling. Okay.
Correct. So this
So
is
what is the business case here, sir? If you can just explain that and let's get to the demo then.
so this is a scenario wherein of offshore drilling. So drilling happens at the depth of exceeding 15,000 feet. It could happen even at 10,000, but people actually even go up to 21,000 feet below the sea level. And these are like deep sea wells, probably LNG and even crude oil is how where drilling happens. The process is typically like around 2 months, and the cost is around 1.5 to $2 million per day of drilling. Now, one of the event, and then there are many non-productive events, NPTs as we call them. So one of the event that happens in this is the stuck pipe. If I really talk in some basic terminology, you have a drill and you're drilling a hole in the wall and the drill gets stuck up. And then you have to probably reverse the drill bit and then perform some simple operations to get it out from the wall. Now, assuming that when you're doing the same activity at 20,000 feet below the sea level, where you cannot actually see the drill. When you're drilling in the wall, you probably can see the drill and the machine is in your hand. But when you're doing it on a rig and the bit is around 20,000 kilo below the sea level, you can't see the bit. All you have is sensor data.
Right.
So to come out of that situation, there are some procedures which have to be adopted. But most important is you need to predict this event uh, at least a few hours in advance. That means whenever we are getting into this event, we need to predict this event and probably initiate the compensating procedures to prevent that from happening. Now, this with this case, one is the key functionality is to predict this event. So that is what we can achieve using AI technologies. The second one is once that event is expected to happen. So once it is predicted, what is the SOPs I need to follow? So I have a plethora of thousands of pages of document. Now, which is the steps which I need to really follow? So assuming I am a driller and I need to understand what are the steps I need to follow as this stuck pipe is happening. Now, just one small thing which I missed it is if a stuck pipe happens, I may easily lose 2 to 3 days of productive time, which is like $5 to $6 million easily. Uh, Not to mention that there is uh, a loss of production for those 3 days. So
Correct.
with this as the base, I will just show you a
Right.
couple of things. So something like I have this DDR, which is like a daily drilling report, which is prepared on a daily basis, which I was mentioning some time back. Now, what generative AI can do for you is look at this report, and so this is my one of my sample reports. What I'm doing is I'm as a driller, I just want to understand what is the summary of this. So what this has done is I've used just one of the foundation models on IBM Watson and basically extracted the information in a summary based on my profile. So this is my summary. So and I can actually do this for some other models also using some other LLM models. So just to show you how it is summarizing this document. So I've chosen a different model. So on Watson X, we have multiple models. So I'm just changing. So each model will give it in a specific way. So depending on which model is specific to a particular persona, we can pick and choose. So and again, the concept of prompt engineering will allow us to extract and so from a user perspective, what is it that the user wants to see? So this is what it is done using Meta. Now I
Right.
can also use IBM Granite and probably do the same summarization on the same document, but probably I'll get some different. So depending on persona, depending on what the user wants to see, we can adjust. So this is how the vanilla summarization is being done by IBM Watson Granite. So there are many more ways you can do this, but essentially this is what is a use case on document summarization. So this is very simple two-line summary. So
So
like I
each
said, I mean,
every
yeah,
LLM gives you a different kind of a output.
perspective. Yes, by the default, everybody will give something different,
Okay.
but you can pick and choose because, like I said, no one size fits all. You can pick what you want to do. The second scenario is this SOP. So, like I mentioned, that as that event is happening in
Right.
terms of the step five, what are the steps I need to follow? So so this is my SOP document. There is a lot of SOPs over here mentioned over here, and then and I really don't know. So what I would say is, so as a driller, I'll just put a query here. Get me 5 common drilling practices. Okay.
Okay.
So this is I'm conversing with my SOPs in a very very simple, and at the back end I'm using retrieval augmented generation, or RAG as they call it, and will extract the necessary information from the standard operating procedures. So takes a few minutes because it runs on some kind of a vector database. It does a similarity search on that, and then
Okay.
gives it to the foundation model to extract the best possible results from it. It's taking a few seconds more. So
Wow.
this is what
Okay.
it is. So let's verify how accurate it is. So five
Okay.
common learning practices. So it has gone in this and it has picked up this.
So it
In
is
this
just
case,
giving us whatever is there in the document. The first
yes,
five points it is
yeah,
taken and it is given us back. All
because
right.
I asked for 5 points only.
Five. Right.
I said five common drilling practices. What you can actually do is you can also give some kind of a link. So I haven't done it over here, but we are doing this for some other customers wherein they also want a link to the original document. So we can actually probably show two or three teaser processes and then show the section of the document where it is documented with a link. So you can click that and go to the document. So he doesn't have to spend through the portal or the content management system to look for that SOP. We'll give him the link and then he can click that link and then go to that SOP directly. So this is a faster way of parsing through your standard operating procedures or your policies. So it can be applied to HR policies, payroll policies, and so on, or reimbursement policies. So you can use it for your internal policy management as well as for any other operational related tasks. So if you have some operations team who's supposed to perform some preventive maintenance steps on their assets. So this can be looked into some kind of a asset repository, some OEM sheets, and we can extract that information from the OEM sheet as well.
So for the organizations to start their Gen AI journey, basically, how mature they should be in terms of their data.
Mm, uh, actually, you can start off pretty immediately. Uh, there might be some requirements of data cleansing or data transformation, but that small data transformation can be done along with this. So my approach or my recommendation here is start small. Uh, 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 so go bottoms up, take a use case, implement it. Probably start with low complexity, low accuracy use cases, and then go to say medium complexity, medium uh, uh, I would say medium accuracy, and then go to high accuracy and high complexity. So where you can do a bit of orchestration and agentic rags and this thing. But I think it's always better to go start small and build capability, uh, expose your organization to how you can use AI and GenAI, and go on one step at a time.
All right. Okay, sir. I think that's it, or anything else, sir, on this demo, or any other points, sir, from your end.
No, I think I mean there is a lot of things. Probably we can do it in further podcast or such sessions. So I think for now, I think this should be a good eye opener.
Right then. All right. So thank you so much, Ravi sir. This was such a nice use case for manufacturing industry where they are doing. I mean, this is very good use case. We're going to come back with a lot of use cases specific to industries, right? I mean, yeah, that would be a good start. So thank you so much. I think that's it for today from our end.
Thank you, Gayatri, and it's pleasure to have such sessions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.